Good morning, one and all. I welcome you all to this webinar series on exclusive YouTube channel of Telangana Model Schools. Dear students, hope these webinars are beneficial to all of you in these COVID times. Today we have physics session from 10:30 to 11:30, followed by mathematics by D. Sanjeev Garu from 11:35 to 12:35. In the previous physics class, we have dealt with the introduction of waves for intermediate second year students. Now we have with us Mr. Vasu Garu working as PGT Physics in TSMS Daulatabad, Siddipet. Today, we will continue with the topic waves. Good morning and welcome Vasu Garu. Please continue with the session.
Yeah. Good morning, children, and welcome back to physics webinar session, second day, waves part. Good morning, one and all, once again. First, let me recall the content which we discussed in earlier or yesterday's session. In last session, we discussed the concept of waves in qualitative manner. That is, we learned what is a wave and classification of waves, what is the significance and importance of the wave, and various terms related to wave motion with all possible images. Now, in this session and today's session, we would learn about the wave motion in quantitative manner, that is, with quantitative analysis. Yesterday, I introduced all the concepts in qualitative manner, that is theoretical approach. Today, quantitative manner, that is in mathematical approach. And today, in this session, we would learn about displacement relation of a progressive wave, that is equation for a progressive wave. Then we'll proceed to characteristics of a wave. They are properties of a wave like amplitude, wavelength, period of oscillation or time period, frequency, and even wave velocity in a brief manner. In today's session, we learn these characteristics in brief manner. In forthcoming sessions, again, we focus on these characteristics once again in quantitative manner, that is in mathematical approach. Then at the end of session, we practice few problems. Now, let me recall the things which we learned in last session. What is a wave? A wave is a disturbance which produced at one point and propagate into the space due to repeated periodic motion of the particles. What kind of periodic motion we considered here? A vibratory or oscillatory motion, that is to and fro motion of a particle. And based on the requirement of the medium, the waves are of two types, mechanical waves and non-mechanical waves. And based on the direction of propagation of the particle, the waves are of two types, transverse and longitudinal waves. And we also suggested the sound waves in air are mechanical longitudinal waves, and the waves producing on string are mechanical transverse in nature. Now, I start this session with displacement relation. That is displacement relation a progressive wave, that equation for a plane progressive wave. Now, during the propagation of a wave, as we all know, the particles of the medium must be in vibratory motion. Students, In first year, we have studied all vibratory, all oscillatory motions are not in SHM. We have studied a special case of oscillatory motion, that is simple harmonic motion. Now, what is a simple harmonic motion? A special case of oscillatory motion in which the condition like acceleration is directly proportional to the displacement but opposite in direction. If that condition is satisfied, then that vibratory or oscillatory motion in turn called simple harmonic motion. Now here, for easy and convenient, we consider the vibrations or the oscillations of the particles of the wave are SHM. Such a wave in which particles of the medium are in SHM is called simple harmonic wave. Generally, harmonic motion means which repeats in a regular interval of time with minimum and maximum values. Generally, sine and cos functions are called harmonic functions. That's why in first year we have studied all the parameters and expressed in terms of sine and cos functions. Now, time to time, whenever required, students please recall the parameters or the quantities from the simple harmonic motion from SHM. Now let me introduce here. Today we are going to derive the equation for a progressive wave by taking a particle in SHM, that is a simple harmonic wave, a wave in which the particles of the medium are in SHM. Look at this diagram. Consider the wave produced at origin, they say that is at O, is propagating along x direction, for which the particles of the medium are vibrating up and down, that is along y direction. So as the wave is propagating along x direction and particles are vibrating about y direction, so what type of wave? It might be transverse wave. So we are going to derive the relation for a transverse progressive wave, the displacement relation for a transverse progressive wave. Now consider a simple harmonic wave starting at origin O and traveling along x direction and particle at O vibrating along y direction. Right? So this is a wave which we are considering for deriving this expression, for deriving this relation, displacement relation. Wave is propagating along positive x direction, for which the particle is vibrating about y direction. For, as I said, for easy and convenient, the particle at O is vibrating in upward direction. In the beginning, it is vibrating in upward direction. Students, in first year, you learned when a particle is in vibratory motion, particularly when a particle is in simple harmonic motion, the displacement of this particle after t seconds is given by an expression that is y is equal to a sine omega t. This you learned in first year simple harmonic motion. What is y? Displacement of the particle after t seconds. What is a? The amplitude, the maximum displacement of the particle here. So this is what the amplitude of the wave. Once again, I describe the amplitude in detail. Omega is the angular frequency or angular velocity of the vibrating particle. Students, when SHM is compared with rotary motion, right? In vibratory motion, each oscillation is equivalent to one rotation in circular motion. So, therefore, while dealing with SHM, we take few terms related to circular motion. So here, omega is such term which is the angular frequency. Here it is called angular frequency. Actually, it is angular velocity of the vibrating particle. So here, let me revise. A wave in which the particles of the medium are in SHM is called a simple harmonic wave. And we are considering a simple harmonic wave starting at origin and traveling along x direction, and particle at O is vibrating along positive y direction. And the displacement of this particle after t seconds will be y is equal to a sine omega t. Now using this, modifying this, we are going to derive the expression for transverse progressive wave. Once again, the same image shown here. Let's consider this a plane progressive wave, which is transverse in nature. Now, now here, let me introduce how you get the equation for a plane progressive wave. The equation or the displacement relation for a plane progressive wave can be obtained by defining the displacement of any particle of that wave, any vibrating particle of that wave, that medium. Let us consider, for example, a particle is located at point P. In other sense, let us consider a wave travels from x is equal to 0, that is from origin to some point P, which is at a distance, x to the right of origin. So the wave is advancing from origin to right side, that is it is advancing, it is propagating along positive x direction, right? So now consider a point P which is at a distance x from the origin. Suppose if we consider the wave is propagating, the wave is traveling with a speed v. So what is speed of speed? Generally distance covered by time taken. So let speed of the wave v is equal to x by t. What is x? It is the distance traveled by the wave in time t, from which you get t equals to x by v. Then the displacement of the particle p. How the displacement of the particle p can be obtained? Let's see. See, the particle p is at a distance x. The wave is started at O, and to reach the point P, it takes some time. How much time it takes can be calculated from this. That is t equals to x by v is the time taken by the wave to reach point P starting from O, right? From O to P, how much time it takes? Simply x by v. Now to describe the displacement of the particle at P, same equation. The equation for displacement of the wave is taken into account, we have to consider, but with time which is replaced by t minus x by v. Why? The time is to be replaced by t minus x by v. Because here the particle at O has started earlier than the particle at P. How much earlier time? That is x by v. That is, by the time the particle starts at O, the particle still it is at rest. What I mean to say, not only here, if you take any time, if I says the particle at O has been in oscillatory motion for time t, if you consider like this, the particle at O has been in oscillatory motion for time t, then the particle at P has been in oscillatory motion for time t minus x by v, because the wave reaches P after x by v seconds, after x by v. Therefore, it has been in oscillatory motion for t seconds, and whereas this particle has been in oscillatory motion for t minus x by v. Now you got the clear idea. Therefore, in order to find the displacement of the particle at P, in order to find the displacement of the particle at point P, we have to take time t. Instead of t, we have to take the time as t minus x by v. That we have to replace the time t in with t minus x by v. So what is the equation for displacement of a particle? y is equal to a sine omega t. Now, if the time is replaced with t minus x by v, you get this expression y is equal to a sine omega into t minus x by v. Now, let us simplify it. Y is equal to a sine. If I'll send this omega into bracket, omega t minus omega by v into x, that is omega x by v, can be expressed as omega by v into x. Here, omega is the angular frequency or angular velocity of the particle, whereas v is, as I suggested, the speed of the wave. See, the ratio of this angular velocity of the particle and the speed of the wave is always a constant for a given wave. Once the wave is produced, these two terms remains constant. So as omega by v is a constant, here I shown this omega by v can be replaced with k. If I'll replace with omega by v with k, then you get the equation in this form. That is y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx. This constant k, which is equals to omega by v, is called propagation constant. See, the mathematical approach or the quantitative study of propagation constant we learned in second session. But of course, the simple ideas regarding propagation constant I'll introduce in this session itself. Is it clear? Now, this is the equation shown here. Y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx will become the equation for a plane progressive wave. From this, it's clear that this equation, which is a function in sine wave, because we took simple harmonic wave, so the function is expressed in sine, and which is periodic in time as well as displacement. If I take y is equal to a sine omega t, that equation or function is periodic only in time. Now it is expressed, which is a periodic both in time as well as position, that is x or displacement of the wave. Generally, the simple idea, simple condition of any wave equation is whatever wave equation we take, whatever expression we take, whatever displacement relation regarding or related to wave we take, must be periodic in time as well as displacement. Now, I'll proceed to describe the wave equation in different ways. K is called, as I suggested, propagation constant. Briefly, how this K propagation constant can be expressed, let's see. Here, in this session, I am introducing the value of K with known terms. In the next session, K is to be described in detail by taking the propagation of wave into consideration. Because by both the ways we get the same value. But here I used the quantities relations which you learnt in earlier classes. Now let's come back. Listen, look here. What is K, which is called a propagation constant, which is the ratio of angular frequency to the speed of the wave. As we know, angular frequency or angular velocity can be expressed as 2 pi nu, where nu is frequency of the vibrating particle. In SHM, you learned frequency of the vibrating particle, and V can be expressed as nu lambda. And this also, once again, we derive it. So 2 pi nu by nu lambda, if I'll replace omega by V with 2 pi nu by nu lambda, cancelling this nu and nu, we get 2 pi by lambda. That is, propagation constant is mathematically equals to 2 pi by lambda, where lambda is wavelength of the wave. Now, in next slide, in the same session, I introduce briefly what is wavelength under characteristics. Now, from this, it's clear that propagation constant is inversely proportional to the wavelength of the wave. You can also suggest the unit for propagation constant here, 2 pi by lambda. 2 pi is an angular displacement, right? And lambda is the wavelength, which is to be expressed in meter. So you may get 1 by meter. So the unit become per meter. Next, in general, now while dealing with when you refer your textbook, you'll find the equation is given in this form. That is, in general, the equation for a progressive wave is given by, nothing wrong with it. I took only the displacement of the particle. Here it is mentioned the displacement of the particle y is a function or is periodic in time and position. Is periodic in time and position. So y of xt is equal to a sine omega t minus kx. The same equation can be expressed in broad manner. Y of xt is equal to a sine omega t minus kx. Once look at this slide, and if required, students, you take the screenshot or snapshot of this. Then slowly we proceed. Now here I derived this expression by taking the wave is starting from origin, that is from mean, and propagating along positive x direction. If the wave is propagating other than positive x direction, then how you get this wave? Let's see. See, one more condition, please note down. Remember this. As I mentioned here, the equation for progressive wave must be periodic in time and position. Here, omega t minus kx term clearly indicates the required equation is periodic, means which changes from time to time, not only from time to time, from position to position. So by making use of this equation, we can determine not only the position of the vibrating particle, at the same time we can determine the position of the wave. Next, if the particle starts from other than mean position, in our derivation I took the particle starts from origin, that is at x equals to, at x initially at t equals to 0, x equals to 0. Next, suppose if the particle starts from other than mean position, then the equation can be taken as y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx plus phi. What is phi? The initial, let me give, now look at this image. See, in our derivation, I took the particle starts vibrating from mean position. That is at here. If the particle starts other than mean, that is if the particle here, suppose here the particle vibrating particle is already displaced to this position, means if the particle is already present here, so this displacement can be expressed in terms of angular displacement, that is phi, which is called initial phase. This is called initial displacement of the vibrating particle. If the particle starts from mean, the initial displacement becomes 0 and initial phase becomes 0, so that initial phase value equals to 0. Again, you will get back your expression, that is y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx, phi equals to 0. Now the in general, practically the equation, the particle, the wave need not start, may not start always from the mean. It may start from any position with any initial displacement. In such case, the equation can be expressed as y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx plus phi. Now, let me introduce what each term indicates in this expression. This is the complete equation for a plane progressive wave which is in transverse mode. Here, y is the displacement of the particle in t second, a is the amplitude, that is the maximum displacement of the vibrating particle, omega is angular frequency or angular velocity of the vibrating particle, k is the propagation constant, and x is the displacement of the wave. In a time t, phi is the initial phase. If the particle starts from origin, then phi equals to 0. If the particle starts other than mean, then phi can be taken with any value. Next. So this is the wave pattern. Students, once you look at this wave pattern, so this wave is starting with some initial displacement, that is why. How do you get initial displacement from this? If I ask you to determine what is the initial displacement of this vibrating particle, this initial displacement can be obtained if you substitute t equals to 0, x equals to 0. If I'll take t equals to 0, x equals to 0, are you listening? Are you following? Then what you get, y equals to a sine phi. So generally, initial displacements or initial values can be obtained by taking t equals to 0 and x equals to 0. That is why general initial displacement is represented by y dash equals to a sine phi. Y dash or y equals to y naught equals to a sine phi. So remember this initial displacement can be determined by taking t equals to 0 and x equals to 0. Next. So what are other forms of wave equation starting from mean? Here in this session, we derived the wave like this. That is a wave which is propagating along positive x direction, starting from mean. That is, and phi equals to 0. Not only phi equals to 0, we considered the particle is vibrating in upward direction. So if the particle is propagating along positive x direction, then the equation for the displacement wave is given by y equals to a sine omega t minus kx. That's what we derived. If the particle is vibrating in upward direction and the wave is propagating along negative x direction, if the wave is propagating along negative x direction, then the equation is to be termed as y is equal to a sine omega t plus kx. Here displacement of the wave become minus, simply stating displacement of the wave become minus, this minus or minus become plus. So whether it is simple harmonic wave or exponential wave or any kind of wave propagating along positive x direction is expressed as omega t minus kx as a function of omega t minus kx, and a wave propagating along a negative x direction can be taken as a function in omega t plus kx. So where do we use these equations? Generally in next coming sessions, while dealing with stationary waves, suppose if the wave propagating along positive x direction is suddenly obstructed and reflected back, then it tends to move along negative x direction. If I'll take the wave propagating along positive x direction with this equation, the wave propagating along negative x direction, that the reflected wave, can be taken with this. So remember this. So wave propagating along positive x direction is given by y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx, and the one which is propagating along negative x direction is given by y is equal to a sine omega t plus kx. Now when you refer any other book like our NCERT books and all, sometimes you also find the equation. The equation is given in this form: y is equal to a sine kx minus omega t. What does it mean? Why it is given like this? How you get it? Let's see. See, in this session, we derived the expression by taking the particle starting from mean and moving in upward direction. If the particle starting from mean is moving in downward direction, so instead of a crust, we may get a trough. In such case, if the particle at x equals to 0 is crossing the mean in downward direction, then the initial phase is to be taken as pi 180 degrees. If the particle is moving in upward, the initial phase becomes 0. If the particle is moving in downward direction, then the initial phase becomes pi. So if I'll replace the same, this is, of course, this in turn derived from this only. If y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx plus, if I'll take initial phase as pi, then you get like this. So what is a sine omega t minus kx plus pi? You learned in mathematics. MPC children, you can respond. Y is equal to a sine 180 plus theta, or pi plus theta is minus sine theta. Am I right? So this can be expressed as y is equal to minus a sine omega t minus kx. That is, here if the particle starts moving up, the amplitude initial displacement become positive, and if the particle starts vibrating in downward, amplitude become negative. And if I'll rearrange, if I'll send this negative sign into the bracket, so a sine minus omega t minus into minus plus kx, now come back to this equation which we got it. Y is equal to a sine kx minus omega t. Is it clear? So y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx gives the equation for a wave propagating. Of course, both are propagating along positive x direction only. But here the particulate mean moves up. Here the particulate mean moves in downward direction, so that the wave patterns we get like this. I shown here very clearly. This equation is given in blue color, and which is related to this wave, blue colored wave. Here, how the particulate mean is vibrating in upward direction, so that in the beginning, in this region, a crust will be formed. So for this, what is the equation for this progressive wave? What is the equation? Y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx, whereas if the particle is vibrating in downward direction, the equation is y is equal to a sine kx minus omega t. Probably the wave is in this form. In the beginning, as the particle moves in downward direction, so we may get a trough like this. This is omega t minus kx, and this is for kx minus omega t, and both refers to the same progressive wave propagating along positive x direction. Children, you take a snapshot or screenshot of this. Next. See, here itself, some more information I would like to give. Y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx is the equation for a progressive wave, which is transverse in nature, transverse mode of vibration. It clearly suggests that the wave is propagating along x direction, whereas the particle is vibrating along y direction. Suppose if I'll ask you, what must be the equation for a wave, transverse wave, in which the particle is vibrating about x direction and wave is propagating along y direction. Say for example, if I'll suspend a string from the roof, if a rope or a string is suspended from the roof or ceiling, by holding the other end, lower end, if you move it to and fro, then a wave pulse produces. How this wave seems to be propagating? Vertically, that is along y direction, for which the elements of the string vibrate in x direction. That is, if the particles of the medium or string are vibrating about x direction and wave is propagating along y direction, maybe negative y or positive y. If it is propagating along positive y direction, what you may get? Can you expect? Yes, here x equals to a sine omega t minus ky. If I ask you to express a wave which propagates along positive y direction for a transverse wave in which the particles are vibrating in x direction, then you can express it as x is equal to a sine omega t minus ky. Same way, in negative y direction, x is equal to a sine omega t plus ky. So even by looking at the what's my idea, what I mean to say, even by looking at the equation itself, you can suggest whether the equation is related to transverse wave or longitudinal wave, whether the wave is transverse or longitudinal. Here, if this direction of wave and direction of particle are perpendicular in different coordinates, like here x, here y, or here y, here x, or here x, here z, or here z, here y, then all such waves represents transverse waves. Now, once you think what must be the what may be the equation for a longitudinal wave. The equation for a longitudinal, what is longitudinal wave? Students, in a longitudinal wave, both particles and the wave propagates along the same direction. Therefore, the equation may be given. Actually, x is equal to a sine omega t minus kx if I'll suggest. What do you infer? The wave is propagating along x direction and particle also vibrating along x direction. Here x, you may confuse. That's why I took here. Consider a wave is propagating along x direction and particle also vibrating along x direction. That is parallel to the propagation of the wave. Then in a broad manner, s of xt is equal to a sine omega t minus kx. Here and here we take the same coordinates. Right here I took, yes, if you want, you can express this as in a capital X form or in different font, so that you'll get clear idea. This is the way how equation for any progressive wave, whether it is longitudinal wave or transverse wave, can be expressed. Student, here we describe all the things by taking transverse wave into consideration. So let us remember y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx for studying all other parameters. Next, let's see. By taking omega equals to 2 pi by t, which is the angular frequency, and propagation constant k equals to 2 pi by lambda, we can rewrite the progressive wave equation in different forms. What is the basic form? Y is equal to a sine omega t plus or minus kx. It suggests the general wave, means if the wave is propagating along positive x direction, we take minus. If the wave is propagating along negative x direction, we take plus. So combining these, a sine omega t plus or minus kx. Here, for convenient, I took initial phase is 0. That is assuming the wave is starting from mean and that is x is equal to 0, right? Next, if I'll put omega equals to 2 pi by t and k equals to 2 pi by lambda, and by putting omega equals to 2 pi by t and k equals to 2 pi by lambda, I'll get this form, that is y is equal to a sine 2 pi. So some small simplification work you have to do. You practice it. Omega is 2 pi by t and k is 2 pi by lambda. In this expression, I took 2 pi common. If I take 2 pi out, then what remains here? Small t by capital T, and here x by lambda, so that you get second form of equation, that is y is equal to a sine 2 pi small t by capital T plus or minus x by lambda. This is one standard form. Students, you practice the work, the simplification work between these two. Next, instead of taking 2 pi common, if I'll take k common directly, as k is equal to, propagation constant can be expressed even as omega by v also. If I take k as common, then what remains? Again, you have to simplify. From the first equation, you have to get this. Y is equal to a sine k. If I'll take common, what remains here as it is omega t? Is there any k term? No. So here omega by k you get. Omega by k. That omega by k can be expressed as v. K is equal to omega by v. If I'll bring k to this side, so the v to this side. So what do you get? V is equal to omega by k. So this omega by k can be expressed as v. So it will become vt plus or minus, as k is taken common, so x will remain. So that the equation can be termed as y is equal to a sine k vt plus or minus x. This is third standard form of wave equation, right? So generally, while dealing with objective work, objective examinations, a displacement equation can be expressed as a function of vt plus or minus x. As we are dealing with only simple harmonic wave, so in all the equations we are taking sine function into consideration. Next, Again, instead of k, if I'll take omega common, a sin omega, then t will remain here plus x. Here is there any omega term? No. So k by omega will remain. What is k by omega? 1 by v. From this again you get k by omega equals to 1 by v will remain, and here on simplification you get x by v. That is y is equal to a sin omega t, omega into t plus or minus x by v. So these are the standard forms of progressive wave equation which are derived from the basic equation, that is y is equal to a sin omega t plus or minus kx. Students, it is not necessary to by heart all these things. By remembering how omega and k are to be replaced and the relation for k, depending on the requirement, you can replace and you'll get the terms like this. Right? Next. Once you look at these equations, generally while dealing with problems, if the given equation in a problem is in this form, you can compare it directly. Sometimes it may be given in this form. For example, y is equal to some amplitude like 10 sine 2 pi 0.02 by t plus or minus some 5 by lambda. Would have remembered this equation form. If you remember this form of progressive wave, you can compare the given equation with the standard form. You can suggest the terms like time period, wavelength directly. Otherwise, again, you have to simplify to express in this form and you have to do the problem. Right? Children? Next, briefly in this session, very briefly, we are going to introduce the characteristics of a wave, like amplitude, wavelength, frequency, and all. In next session, the complete mathematical approach or the quantitative analysis of characteristics of wave will be given. See, it is not just describing the wave in mathematical form, and we have to learn what each term indicates in that mathematical form. At the same time, we must be in a position to describe the each and every parameter, I could say, or characteristics of a wave in a detailed manner. So let me start these characteristics with an amplitude. This you might have studied in first year SHM also. Generally, what is an amplitude? The maximum displacement of a particle from its mean position in wave motion is called amplitude. Here, when a wave is propagating through the medium, as I said, if you picturize the wave at a given instant, then you get the shape of the wave. As I suggested, what is this region of crust indicates? It is the locus of displacements of all the particles. Am I right? And these displacements are different for different particles at that instant only. And at a particular point, the displacement is becoming maximum. This maximum displacement of the vibrating particle at a given instant is called amplitude of the wave. This is called displacement amplitude. I am stressing displacement amplitude because here we are dealing with displacement of the particle, so it's called displacement of the wave. See, remember itself, I'll give the clarity regarding suppose while dealing with longitudinal waves like pressure waves, density and pressure may vary. If the density is maximum, then that is called density amplitude. If the pressure is maximum, then it's called pressure amplitude. Okay, let us confine here. We are dealing, I'm going to introduce all these parameters related to only transverse wave in which the displacement of the particle is alone varying. So here it is the amplitude of the wave. Here it is shown here amplitude is this maximum displacement. Again here amplitude. So the maximum displacement of a particle from its mean position is called wave of a wave motion is called amplitude, as it is the displacement. So generally it is expressed in centimeters and meters. Next, the phase. Students, this is the parameter where we confuse a little extent. Now let me clear what is phase. Actually, it is simple idea. The phase of a vibrating particle at any instant is the state of the particle regard to its position and direction of motion in the path of its vibration. It's looking broad, but what is phase is, it simply gives the state of vibrating particle both in magnitude and direction. That is, where does this particle is located at that instant? What is its angular displacement? Simply stating, what is the angular displacement of the vibrating particle at that instant, from which you can understand what is its magnitude as well as direction. That is, the phase of a vibrating particle at any instant is the state of the particle. It is the state of the particle in regarding what? Its position and direction of motion. Position, it's a, from which you can also estimate the magnitude, where it is located, the magnitude of the displacement, as well as its direction. Generally, this phase is related to the, simply stating, the phase in turn called the angular displacement of that vibrating particle at that instant. Therefore, generally the phase is expressed in radian. See, in our equation, to get the state of particle both in magnitude and direction, we take in y is equal to a sin omega t minus kx plus phi. Depending on this value, the position of the vibrating particle can be described both in magnitude and direction. The position of the vibrating particle at that instant can be described both in magnitude and direction. So in general, this complete omega t minus kx plus phi is referred to the phase value. Suppose if I'll ask you to take what is the initial phase, from here itself we can understand. If I'll take t is equal to 0, as I suggested, if I'll take t equals to 0, x equals to 0, you get initial value. So what is the initial phase now? If I'll put t equals to 0, x equals to 0, this phi become initial phase. That's why this phi is suggested as initial phase while dealing with equation for a progressive wave. Now, in forthcoming sessions, we deal with what should be the phase value of the crust, what should be the phase value of trough. Now, MPC children, you can understand, if you compare this wave pattern with a sine wave, what is the phase value here? 0. What is the phase value here? Pi by 2. For which value of, for which angular displacement the sine function become maximum? The first pi by 2, that is pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2, 2 pi. So these are the phase values. In next sessions, I'll give some more details regarding phase and how it is related with the path or advancement of the wave. Here in this session, just we are going to describe the Cat6 in a brief manner. Next, wavelength. What is wavelength? It is the distance between any two successive particles which are in a wave motion, which are in same phase. Like generally in a wave motion, which two particles will be in same phase? If I take a particle here, the peak point of the crust and peak point of the crust, or else the peak point of, and these two are successive or consecutive. If I take these 2 points, these are also successive and consecutive, and these two particles are in same phase. They are in same phase because they have the same magnitude of the displacement and their direction is also same. How do you get direction of the particle from the shape of the wave? By drawing a tangent, touching line at this point. If I draw a tangent here and here and here, you get the same direction. So these two particles are said to be in same phase. Therefore, the distance between two successive particles which are in same phase is called wavelength. Here, even these two particles are in same phase. If I'll take origin, what is the next successive particle which is in the same phase? This, because here the waves seems to be starting, the particle seems to be vibrating in upward. Again here the particle seems to be vibrating in upward. If I take this particle, the displacement is here, of course, but the direction of the particle is in downward, so it is not in phase. So this particle is in phase with this particle. Even this distance can be termed as wavelength. Or else, it is the distance traveled by the wave by the time the particle of the medium completes one oscillation. If I take a particle at origin, as we learned already in earlier session, by the time the particle completes one full oscillation, the wave advances through this much distance by forming one crest and trough. It means, and what is this distance? Now it is referred as wavelength. How this distance is covered by the wave? By the time the particle present here has completed one oscillation. Therefore, by taking this into consideration, we can also define the wavelength as it is the distance traveled by the wave by the time the particle of the medium completes one oscillation. Right? Students, of course, as usual, the wavelength can also be expressed in centimeters and meters. Students, can you suggest, can you tell, can you identify how much distance the wave is to be traveled if the particle present here completes two oscillations? By the time the particle completes two oscillations, so if for each oscillation, if the distance covered is 1 lambda, one wavelength, for two oscillations, 2 lambda. Now, if I ask you people to find the number of oscillations completed by the particle present here, so it has advanced through 1 lambda and next 2 lambda up to here and 2.5 lambda. These are the number of oscillations completed by the particle present here. If I'll ask you to determine the number of oscillations completed by the particle present here to reach up to here, then here from here to here only lambda plus half lambda, only 1.5 lambda. So the number of oscillations completed by the particle present here and other points are different. This is wavelength. Simply stating, what are these successive particles which are in same phase? Either two crust or two troughs. Regarding transverse wave and regarding longitudinal wave, the two compressions are two rarefaction. Therefore, in first session, we discussed and we defined wavelength is the distance between any two successive crust or any two successive troughs, or distance between any two successive compressions or any two successive rarefactions when it comes to longitudinal wave. The next parameter is time period or period of oscillation or period of a wave. See, in general, in circular motion on vibratory motion, how you define time period? Time required to complete one full oscillation or one full vibration, or in rotary motion, we take time required to complete one full rotation. Similarly, here the time taken by the wave to travel a distance of one wavelength is called time period of the wave. Simply stating, it is the time required, it is equals to the period of oscillation of the particle on wave. That is, time required to complete one full oscillation or one full vibration by the particle of the wave. But why I'm taking all these parameters in terms of wavelength and wave? Because we defined by taking the vibrating particle into consideration. Now, in some more detail, by adding the wave into consideration, wave motion into consideration, we are trying to define in a different mode. It is the time taken. Let me revise it again. The time taken by the wave to travel a distance of one wavelength is called time period of the wave. In wavelength, what is suggested? By that time, the particle completes one full oscillation, it advances through one wavelength. It is defined in reverse. That is, the time taken by the wave to advance through one wavelength distance, to advance through a distance of lambda, is called time period of the wave, or period of the wave, or it is also equals to the time period of oscillation, or simply period of oscillation of any particle on the wave. This is the way how time period is to be expressed. As usual, it can be expressed in terms of what is the SI unit for time? Time period, second. So wavelength, time period. Now, here itself, can you suggest if I'll take one wavelength as lambda and time period is capital T, to cover a distance of lambda, how much time it takes? Capital T. So if I'll take this distance is lambda, then time, it can the same can be expressed in terms of time. To cover a distance of lambda by 2, how much time it may take? T by 2. To cover a distance of lambda by 4, is it 1/4 of the wavelength? Lambda by 4, the how much time it may take? T by 4. So once you try all these things, by the end of the next session, you will get perfection in describing and comparing all these parameters in quantitative manner in mathematical form. Next parameter is frequency. What is frequency in general? The number of vibrations producing per second, or number of oscillations producing per second, right? Related to vibratory or oscillatory motion. Now we can also suggest, due to each vibration, a wave produces, right? If the particle at a particular point completes one oscillation, from there you get one wave. If the particle at a point vibrates 5 times, 5 vibrations, then how many waves may pass through that point? 5 waves. Therefore, the frequency of a wave motion is the number of vibrations made by the particle of the medium per second, and is equals to the number of waves passing any given point per second. Depending on the number of vibrations completed by the particle in vibratory motion, number of waves produces. Each vibration causes to produce a wave. Due to each vibration of the particle at a particular point, a wave passes through that point. So simply it is either the frequency of wave motion is either the number of vibrations made by the particle of the medium per second, and these vibrations are to be taken in 1 second only, in unit time, not the complete vibrations, not the total vibrations, only the number of vibrations producing in 1 second or in unit time, or else it is equals to the number of waves passing any given point per second. Generally, frequency is equals to the reciprocal of time period. Suppose if the time period is 1 by 1, what is the frequency? 1. If I'll suggest time period is 0.5, you think practically, if a particle is vibrating with a time period of 0.5 second or 0.5 second, or in half second it is completing one vibration, so that in half second a wave produces, then in 1 second how many waves it produces? 2. So the same you get 1 by 0.5 on simplification, 10 by 5 equals to 2. Similarly, T can also be expressed as 1 by n. Now this picture can give the amplitude. This is a wavelength. These peaks are, of course, I mentioned them as peaks, but actually they are crust. And one complete cycle means one crust and trough. This is a wave moving in along positive x direction. Now the unit of frequency is hertz. Actually, number of waves producing per second, number of waves per second, cycles per second. In vibratory motion, we take vibrations per second, yes, oscillations per second. Here, waves per second, That per second is termed as hertz, named after Heinrich Hertz. So hertz is the unit for frequency. frequency of a wave is 100 Hz. Means what? That particular wave, in that particular phenomenon, 100 waves are producing in 1 second. Next is wave velocity, the speed of a wave. What is the wave velocity or speed of a wave? Here I took velocity or speed, doesn't make any difference. As I said in the first session itself, I said our work is confined to only one dimensional, the wave propagating along any single direction. In such case, both distance and displacement are equal. So the distance through which the wave travels in unit time is called wave velocity. Generally, what is wave velocity? Displacement or the distance covered, distance along a straight line by time taken. So the wave velocity can be expressed as distance by time. Now in terms of wave, if I'll take distance is lambda, how much time it takes to cover this displacement? Capital T, time period. So therefore distance lambda and time is capital T. So the basic expression for wave velocity is lambda by T. This is the theoretical expression. Now in coming sessions, we describe this wave speed, how it is to be determined in terms of practical parameters. You know, lambda by T can also be expressed as nu lambda, because here nu frequency is 1 by T. If I'll replace 1 by T with nu, you get nu lambda. This V is equal to lambda by T, or V is equal to nu lambda. Already you have studied in earlier classes. See, whatever parameters here, I would like to give some information regarding these expressions. In physics, generally, we always come across too many expressions for the same parameters. Why? In forthcoming sessions, we are going to describe the wave velocity of the speed of a transverse wave, speed of a longitudinal wave in terms of different quantities. Why these too many expressions comes in our study? Once you think over it, if I suggest wave velocity lambda by T or nu lambda, if I leave it, once you think over it, can you determine these two parameters or these two parameters practically? Suppose if I suggest a sound produced and propagating through the medium, or a wave produced on a string is propagating like this. You can take the picture, you can suggest, and you can suggest it easily. But practically, can you determine the wavelength or time period or frequency of the wave? No. Therefore, we have to modify these expressions in terms of practical quantities, the quantities which can be determined experimentally or practically. That's why these expressions changes, and we get several expressions in our study. That is the only idea. Means we have to think, we have to make the study more and more easy and convenient by replacing the theoretical terms with experimental or mathematical terms. So these are the characteristics which we learned. So what are the characteristics which we learned? The amplitude, phase, wavelength, frequency, wave velocity. As I told, today we are trying to describe the wave motion in quantitative manner, that is in mathematical approach. So students, learning of physics is a more enjoyable, but when it is learnt in a proper manner, and when it is learnt by solving problems, whatever mathematical concepts you have learnt, unless you put them in practice, unless you put them in mathematical form, unless you practice in problematic form, you cannot understand, you cannot remember. Now let us practice a problem. once read this. So briefly, I framed a problem. Look at this problem. A transverse harmonic wave on a string is described by y of xt is equal to 3.0 sine 3060 plus 0.018x plus pi by 4. Look at this problem where x and y are in centimeters as they are related to displacements and t is in seconds. Find the amplitude, initial phase, and least distance between two successive crests. We are asking, what is the least distance between two successive crests? Of course, wavelength. Now let us see how do we determine the parameters required from the wave equation. Students, you look at this expression y of xt is equal to 3.0 sine of 3060 plus 0.018x plus pi by 4 is in which form? Y is equal to a sine omega t plus kx plus phi. So let's see how to solve it. When you compare the given equation y of xt is equals to 3.0 sine of 3060 plus 0.018x plus pi by 4 with a known standard wave equation. That is what is the basic equation? Y of xt is equal to a sine omega t. Sorry, here minus kx plus kx is given. You can take plus kx also plus phi. This is in this form. So in a problem it is given plus. Of course, you have to take it as plus. So only thing is plus means propagating along negative x direction. This is propagating along. Of course, doesn't make any difference to determine the parameters. So in place of a, you have 3.0. What is a? Amplitude. Now is asking to determine the amplitude. So what is the amplitude of the wave now? 3.0. As it is mentioned in problem, the x and y are given in centimeters. So we have to mention the unit as 3.0. The amplitude a equals to 3.0 centimeter. Now in place of omega, you have 36. Omega equals to 36. And in place of k, you have 0.018. 0.018. And in place of initial phase phi, we have pi by 4. Next is asking just initial phase only. Only initial phase phi. So in place of initial phase, what do you have? Pi by 4. So initial phase is pi by 4. Sometimes they ask what is initial displacement. Then what you have to do, as I suggested, if you take t equals to 0, x equals to 0, you may get 3 sine pi by 4. Substituting sine pi by 4 value, you get the initial displacement also. But he's asking only amplitude, initial phase. Next, the least distance between two successive crests. That is what? Wavelength of the wave. Once you think from which term you get wavelength, is it omega or k? Omega equals to, once you recall, 2 pi by capital T or 2 pi nu. So we get either time period or frequency. But what is k? The basic idea, k, basic formula, basic expression for k is 2 pi by lambda. So k includes lambda. So if you take k value, you may get wavelength value. Therefore, as k equals to 2 pi by lambda, that is k is given as 0.018, which is to be equated to 2 pi by lambda. On simplification, you get lambda equals to 2 pi by 0.018. On substituting the value of pi, that is 2 into 3.14 by 0.018. And on simplification, I did the simplification, 348.8 centimeters, because the value, the displacements x and y are given in centimeters. So 348.8 centimeter, which is equals to, in terms of meter, 3.488. This can be approximated to 3.5 meter if required. Generally, while dealing with objective examinations, the options may be given approximate values. So after solving you have to think of the nearest value, the nearest or approximate value, nearest value of the actual answer. So 348.8 centimeter can be approximated to 3.5 meter. Is it clear? This is the way how a problem can be solved. Students, here we determined only amplitude, initial phase and wavelength. By comparing omega with, by taking omega equals to 36, you can also determine the time period of the wave. And you can also determine, as you know, wavelength and time period. If you know time period, then wave velocity also you can estimate by taking wave velocity equals to lambda by capital T. You take, if required, you take the snapshot or screenshot of this slide. Now let's see. Once summarize all the things which we learned in this session. What have we learned? We start today's work is totally the mathematical approach or quantitative analysis of waves. So we derived the expression for progressive wave, which is transverse in nature. That is, equation for a progressive wave is given by y is equal to a sin omega t minus kx plus phi, in which a is the amplitude, omega is the angular frequency, can be expressed as either 2 pi by t or 2 pi nu, where t is the time period and nu is the frequency, and k is the propagation constant, which can be expressed as either omega by v or 2 pi by lambda, where omega is angular frequency and v is speed of the wave, right? Lambda is the wavelength and phi is the initial phase. Remember the equation and what each term indicates in that equation, which is very, very important for understanding and for solving problems. Next, what have we learned again? The parameters, like the maximum displacement of vibrating particle from its mean position is called amplitude. The distance between two successive points on the same phase is called wavelength. The time taken by the wave to travel a distance of one wavelength is called period of oscillation. So here, in a time period of oscillation, how much distance the wave travels? Equivalent to one wavelength. And such number of waves passing any given point per second is called frequency. The frequency is equals to reciprocal of time period. Right? So these are the few things which we learned in today's session. Listen, students, you learn this here. I explained all the parameters in brief manner. In next session, we deal again with these parameters in detailed manner, which are to meet the needs of, which are useful and to meet the needs of all competitive examinations like EAMCET, mains, NEET, etc. Like in more mathematical work will do. Next, please, if you want, you can take, once again, I'll take the snapshot or screenshot of this slide. This is what have we learned. Again, this. The parameters are simply stated. Next. From today's work, you can practice these two questions. That's what, write an expression for, this is what as an assessment. Write an expression for progressive harmonic wave and explain various parameters used in the expression. So just you write the expression only. And what each term, what each term indicates in that. They are nothing but the parameters used in that expression. And you also try a problem. A traveling harmonic wave on a string is described by y of xt is equal to 7.5 sine of 12t plus 0.0050x plus pi by 4. Find amplitude, wavelength, and period of oscillation. Here you have to determine the amplitude, wavelength, and period of oscillation. If you want, you can also determine the frequency and wave velocity. This is for today's assessment practice. Now I'll go through your doubts. Children, madam, those
Sir,
who are posted the doubts, can I go through their doubts? And before going to today's doubts, let me clear. Yesterday, I've given a question in assessment. The second question: what is the speed or velocity of the sound on the surface of the moon, and why I asked? Many children, many students have responded. Of course, they gave correct answer. It is, as there is no atmosphere and there is no medium on the surface of the moon, so sound does not propagate. So why sound does not propagate? Now I stressed again. Why? More sound in some more detail. The reason, we learned sound is a form of mechanical wave. Sound is a form of mechanical wave. And for the propagation of mechanical wave, a medium is required. Sound is a form of mechanical wave, and for the propagation of mechanical wave, a medium is required. As there is no medium, as there is no atmosphere on the surface of the moon, so sound cannot travel. Sound does not travel. As it doesn't travel, as it doesn't propagate, so its speed become 0. If they ask numerical value, it will be 0. So what is the basic idea is, sound is a form of mechanical wave which requires a medium for its propagation. If there is no medium, sound does not propagate. So this is the way how.
Sir Vasu Garu, no doubts today on chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, students can practice the expressions and derivations given, sir.
Okay.
So thank you, Vasu Garu.
Thank you. Thank you, one and all. I'll be back with more content in next session.
Students, let us take a break for 5 minutes. Then we'll continue with the session mathematics.